today's Be Smart About Art show. My name is Susan J. Mumford. I'm your host, and I better get the mic right next to my face. So I was saying welcome to the Be Smart About Art show. Now, this series runs Sunday to Thursday of each week, and the Wednesday edition is Be Smart About Art. That's a hashtag question time. And this is an opportunity for our members from Patreons. It's patreon.com/Be Smart About Art to submit their questions. Now, we are beginning to start inviting people to put their questions onto a post that we put onto Patreon. It's still a pretty new program for us. So today I'm taking a questions that we have from one of our members otherwise, which is asking about how on earth do you handle currency conversion and how you charge for works of art when you're selling to people potentially anywhere in the world in this new and different world in which we are enabling the viewing of work online. Now, it might be that you are presenting still images. It could be that you are doing video tours of your studio or your gallery, or even talking people through in questions and answers. There are all kinds of things that you can still be doing. But the reality is, when you put works of art online, it could potentially be people from anywhere around the world that purchase your pieces. So how do you handle that kind of currency conversion? Well, when I look at how you price art for multiple countries, there are basically two ways of going about that. Now, I'm going to make some notes on my whiteboard that I have got ready to use for the session today. So I am going to do it here, and then I'm going to show it to you to basically reinforce the learning. So we have got the first option being, if you can actually read my writing. So we have got option number one. You've got local market pricing. Now, what does local market pricing mean? What that means is that essentially, let's say that you are a gallery based in London, and your gallery, now this is not in the current world, but this is the world that we normally inhabit, that your gallery participates in an art fair in New York City. So what you do for that is you'll probably do some conversions to see what the prices of art would be approximately in American dollars or US dollars. And you would say, okay, so for this event, we'll take the local market prices from London and we'll convert those over to US dollars for that one event. And then in that particular event, that is how you convert it. Now, when I talk about local market pricing, and I'll come back and this will make sense, what you do is you establish a price for that location. So let's say that the gallery that we're talking about. So if we talk about local market prices, they go, actually, we're going to keep exhibiting in America. We might even open a branch in America. What they do is they establish local market prices. So regardless of what the price is in the UK, despite the first time when they first started exhibiting in New York City, they did a conversion. They actually come up with a price that's in America. And I'll come back to some questions or concerns that might come up from that. Now, if you are only showing there for a particular event, a one-time project, then what you might do is what I'm going to call temporary conversion-based pricing. And so with this, that really goes to what I was kind of talking about originally, funnily enough. So the second option is temporary conversion-based pricing, okay? So for that means that if you are going and exhibiting in New York City and it's only temporary, it's only a one-time event, you don't know if you're going to go back, well, you convert your prices over there, and you might convert them slightly differently the next time that you exhibit in New York City. So you've got these two different options that you normally consider. So one being temporary currency-based pricing, and the other is permanent local market prices. So one of the common questions that I get is, well, then what happens if, let's say, you have a client who is in New York City, they see a work of art that is based in the UK, they're interested in buying it, and they notice actually that the UK price works out to be cheaper when they do the currency conversion. Well, what you do is you explain the thinking behind your pricing strategy. Now, this is at the absolute core of pricing art is that there's a reason for what you have done, so that whenever somebody comes along and asks you, hang on, wait, why have you done that? You go, oh, let me explain. This is the thinking behind it. So you make sense of why you're pricing in this way. So if it is temporary, then it's going to be approximately what the current currency conversion is. Now, this is an interesting point to be considering right now because currencies are all over the place in the midst of COVID-19. We've got stock markets going up and down. We've got the Wall Street stock market doing one thing. We've got the London Stock Exchange doing another thing. We've got things in Hong Kong doing completely other things at different points in time. So actually, even if you were, let's say, exhibiting from London and going to New York City in a month's time, you actually might see a change in that time. So you might be preparing your prices ahead of time and find that the exchange rate had changed slightly before you got there anyway. And again, what you can do is you can say, oh, we've put it at this price because we created all of our price labels at the time that we were preparing for our exhibition. Now, yeah, the situation has changed slightly, and you can always negotiate. You can always use currency conversions as an opportunity to maybe give a client a goodwill discount. So if they're going, well, surely it should be cheaper for me, you can, if you think it's the right thing to do, and you think it's a reasonable negotiation, then do so. Just make certain that you list the full amount on the invoice and that you then provide a discount, and that's based on being a great repeat customer or maybe being a first-time collector or something like that. Now, if you come to the current moment and how to grapple with currency conversions when you think, well, you might be selling works to people anywhere around the world, and what do you do about that? So there are a few questions that come up when it comes to selling art online. The first and often the biggest question is, well, depending on how you're selling pieces, so are you using an art marketplace, one of these big sites like Saatchi Online, Art Finder, First Dibs, one of those, ArtNet, what have you. If you're using one of those as opposed to your own website, what kind of currency options do you have, and where are you based, and where do your customers tend to be, and where do you think your customers are going to be based at this point in time? Now, just a few days ago, I was speaking with a UK-based artist who's from continental Europe, but she runs a cooperative gallery in England, and she was talking about how she had a sell from America, a purchase on the cooperative gallery's website, and although they don't normally sell to the USA, and it even says on the website, the American just went, well, whatever, I really want this work of art, and went ahead and proceeded and bought it online. So they fulfilled the order and they sent the work of art to America. That says to me that there could be some opportunities internationally. And in my experience, commonly with online selling, there tends to be a limitation. That limitation is that quite often you have to select one currency to deal with. And actually, we experienced the exact same thing with Patreon.com. And I decided to proceed with the United States dollar because the US, where I am from, where I still do a lot of work, and I've got a big network over there, I thought, well, America's really big. The rest of the world is really used to seeing dollars. And culturally, if I'm going to think about, and for that example, say Brits being presented with a US dollar price versus Americans being presented with pound sterling, I think Brits would be more comfortable seeing dollars than Americans would be seeing sterling. So I thought, right, so for our platform, we've gone for dollars. And actually, based on my research, what happens if you're based somewhere else is that you get in parentheses or brackets what the currency conversion is for where your IP address is said to be. And so let's say that you are in the UK, you'll likely get a little conversion of the current exchange rate there. So the question for you is then, how are you dealing with different currencies, and which currencies are you choosing, and how are you going about that? Well, on websites and on marketplaces, it does work well to have a single price, and that you then from there have conversions. The challenge might be if you have existing local market prices, and you probably need to be thinking about this right now. If you are used to selling in set locations and you have your set prices for locations, how are you going to handle that when at the moment your entire presence is probably going to be online and everyone's going to be able to see that same information? You could state manually one price for dollars and one price for pounds, if we continue with our example, and explain to anybody who asks any questions about it. It could even be to their advantage, but it could be to their disadvantage. But that's really just conceptual because you have established some local market prices. I think ideally at the moment, what you'll be doing where it's possible is basing your prices on a single currency and then using conversion processes. It might even be that the platform enables the potential buyer to check what the price is in their own currency. It could be that you give a little link to say, hey, if you want to check what the currency is where you're based, then click on this link. I personally use the Oanda, that's OANDA, currency converter. And what's nice about that, I find, is I can do historic searches if I ever want as well. So there are different ways of going about it, but it is important that you're thinking about it. And I think considering what your base currency is going to be is an incredibly important observation, bearing in mind that there is potential for putting off people if they see a currency that they're not used to observing. And my take at the moment is that thinking about your prospective clients, not on your normal local scale, those people are still supportive, they're still important ambassadors, they can still comment on your social media posts, they can still purchase your works of art. I just actually came off a call with a gallerist in Sag Harbor near New York City. Nice little community, and galleries there are putting works of art in the windows. They're displaying them so that local residents can potentially even buy them. They'll go onto the website or email the gallery, and they'll be able to arrange a collection, delivery, etc., and do that in a safe way that maintains social distancing. So you still have that. You still have your local communities, but beyond that, if there are people who are a mile down the road versus 1,000 miles down the road, or even across an ocean or what have you, they might as well kind of be the same distance right now. So which person do you think is more likely to be buying your products and your services? I think that is what you want to be focusing on in terms of setting your currency and then enabling platforms online to then help you do conversions. Everyone, that has been a quite, I think, good overview of how to work currency conversions. Perhaps a final point is that for those of you also who are sending money across borders, you can always look at foreign exchange options as well. There are ways of saving money. And we should address that in a future edition of the Be Smart About Art show. I even have a guest speaker in mind who I might bring on board to talk with you about how to save money when receiving money or sending money across international borders, because arguably this is a time that we are going to be addressing that. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you as ever. I've been Susan J. Mumford. I look forward to seeing you in the future on the Be Smart About Art show. Being that it's a Wednesday, I am now looking forward to our Thursday show, which is going to welcome our next guest speaker, Marcus Mcalister, who is going to be focusing on creativity during these times, how to maintain it, how you can use that as a tool, and he will provide lots of insight and inspiration. As we say, well, I would love to say knowledge is power, and we also say participate, connect, and grow. Those are the steps. You participate in community. We at Be Smart About Art are keeping it simple and supported throughout this COVID-19 pandemic, and we are here to support you in your ongoing journey. We're here to help you thrive in a changing and arguably ever-increasing art world. Thank you very much. I'm signing out from Lewis in East Sussex in England. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you again on the Be Smart About Art show soon.